All right, so we're going to go through and look at some of these complex number problems, but just using the calculator, okay? So if you take the square root of negative 49, all right, it's going to give you 7i, and that's just because the square root of negative 1 is I, okay? Numbers 5 and 6 are asking you to add and subtract them. So you can do it by hand if you want, or just type them in. 4 plus, to make the I, it's going to be the second button, and then it's going to be this decimal down here. Right, second, and then a little decimal. Parentheses, and then plus 7 minus 4i. There you go. So it adds them up for you. On 7, 8, 9, and 10, these are all the ones where you have to multiply them. So say if I'm looking at number 8, for example, I'll do 3 plus 5i, and you can press the multiplication if you want to, or just sit them right next to each other. There we go. And it will multiply them for you. So it's just like regular multiplication, where you do the double distributive property, but wherever there's an I squared, like at the end, 5i times negative I, you're going to replace the I squared with a negative 1 is what happens. Okay, 11 and 12, when you are dividing complex numbers, you can't use the alpha y equals. You're going to have to wrap it in parentheses. So the top part, we'll do 7 plus 16i, and then use the division key, 2 plus I. There we go. And it will divide them for you. Yay. All right, 13 and 14 on the absolute value. Probably want to write down this command. So to make the absolute value bars, to make those little bars right there, you'll press math, and then arrow over to the right, and then abs. All right, and now we can do the absolute value of 4 plus 5i. 4 plus 5, and then the I. There we go. The other way to do it is to throw the 4 and the 5 into this little formula right here. All right, square root of 4 squared plus 5 squared. You'll see it gives you the same answer. The conjugate, there's not really any work to be done here. The conjugate of this one is negative 5 minus 2i, and you're just changing the sign of the imaginary part. That's all you do. So like on number 16, the conjugate of that is negative 6i. All right, 17, 18, and 19. So on these, you can type them in. So if you do I to the 33rd, it wants you to simplify this. And what it's going to do, what we're doing, is we're simplifying it down to either I squared, which is negative 1, I to the third, which is negative I, or we're just simplifying it down to I to the fourth, which is equal to 1. So these are our 4 possible answer choices there. Okay. But this weird notation that it gives you here, you get, this is all scientific notation. The 3e negative 13 part just represents 0. And so you got 0 plus I, which is I. All right, so I to the first would be our answer. The other way to get that is just subtract off groups of 4. Like if you subtract off 32, which is a multiple of 4, you're left with I to the first, and that's the answer. Let's look at I to the 98 there. I to the 98th. So in this one, you got negative 1 plus, remember this is all just 0. So it's like negative 1 plus 0i, which is just equal to negative 1. Okay. So this one's going to be equal to negative 1. What you do is you subtract off 96 of those i's, and that's going to leave you with I to the second, which is equal to negative 1 right there.